Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you're listening to this. Thank you. You're not hearing it? You're not on?
You can hear us? Testicles? 1, 2, 3.
Can you hear now? You good?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, just.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Just.
Just.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
But can you feel us, though?
Can you feel it?
In the heart.
In the heart. It's all about the heart, feeling it. So, we're here again, second podcast of the day.
Third of ever.
We're on.
Yes, we are.
Third
Again.
podcast.
Oaskies.
Oaskies.
We've got Richard with us today. Richard.
Richard Knight is here.
Plan C.
Plan C.
Plan C.
Hey, it's
No, this is B/2.
B2.
I'm the guy when you can't get anyone else.
Oh, no, don't say that. It's a pleasure to have you on, man.
It is.
Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to be here. We appreciate that.
State your name, file, and rank. Lieutenant Dan. So you're studying civil. Civil. Yeah. For those who got the last podcast, Michael was actually studying civil as well.
Yeah.
There you go. FYI.
Yes. We didn't state that.
But who cares?
Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. Hey, we're working out the kinks here.
We are fresh and new. Shiny. Shiny.
I like it a lot.
That was really creepy.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
That was my terrible attempt at a applause.
I thought you were in pain.
Maybe I was.
Or cheer, I think it is.
Yeah. Cheer or whatever. Yeah, all right. So,
Richard.
obviously, the first question.
Yeah. How did you become a uni student?
Yeah. Tell us
A
the
mature
road.
age uni student.
Yes.
I was laying in hospital at the QE2 across the road from Nathan campus.
In hospital.
In hospital. Mm-hmm. And for 3 days, all I could do was stare at the university sign.
You were a victim of advertising?
Oh, no.
I'd just come out of a bad marriage with an abusive wife, and
Wow.
I wanted something to put some pride back in myself. So I decided I'd try uni.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
You're redoing yourself.
Reinventing myself.
Yeah.
Why not?
Nice.
Why the hell did I pick engineering? Why didn't I pick
Should have been
something
a
easy?
surveyor.
Yeah, why? So why did you, besides the staring at a sign?
Well, I'm a mechanic by trade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pretty sucky mechanic, actually.
I like that. Like, you could just reaffirm the fact that you suck at a certain trade. You're like, this is what I did for a living, and I'm not good at it.
For 27 years.
You must be all right, though.
Yeah, you probably.
I don't work on my own car.
Okay.
Okay, maybe that's something.
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
At least you can admit it, though. You know, those people that say, like, they're really bad at mechanics and, like, I'm the best at being a mechanic, and then you get, like, a tin can, like, sewn to the back of the exhaust pipe or something. Like, yeah, you're not good at what you're doing.
No.
But, yeah, okay.
So, I thought engineering, I'd worked with engineers,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Through your trade.
yeah, through the trade, which are really boilermakers, fitters and turners,
Mm-hmm.
but they call themselves engineers.
Okay. That's a different type of engineering,
Yeah.
though, right? That's like the TAFE route. Yeah,
engineers,
you can. It's more of a welding course, right?
Yeah, it's
Like a fitter and
fitter
turner.
and turners,
Fitter and turner,
boilermakers,
okay.
blacksmiths, all come under
Okay.
engineers.
Oh, okay. Well, they're engineering stuff.
Yeah, how cool's a blacksmith, though? You know what I mean? Like,
That is pretty cool.
hundreds of years of just hammering on steel. What are you going to do today? Hammer on some steel.
Nice.
I reckon it'd be interesting to try out.
It would be.
I got
It
it.
would be interesting just to go back and just see the way things used to be. That's what I find fascinating as well. Just sorry to go on a tangent here, but with just like car related, I saw it was a Ford Fairlane, and it was just one of those ones from like Grease Lightning.
Oh,
I don't know what kind of cars they are, but it's one of those ones with the big wings on the back, like this. It's the actual back of the car, but they've got the wings on it and stuff. And I looked inside. I actually took a photo, man. I've got a photo here, but it's just amazing to look inside a car. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but it's just funny to look and just look back in time, and that's like that's the best technology we had.
Yeah,
you know,
we
but
did.
it was just we did speak about this, but it's just like and also the art of like a car as well, you know. But anyway, we'll get back to you, Richard.
Well, cars can be beautiful.
They are.
The aesthetics, you know what I mean? Like the lines back in the day, like you were saying, they take cues from like rockets because all rocket, you know, it's like 1960s Rocket Man, you know, or going to the moon, blah. But they took all those cues from that, and next, you know, you've got like fins on the back of cars. Like, what do we got now? Like a nice round bump.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, before the space sort of influence, they were shaped off of a naked woman's body.
Really?
Really?
What were?
The fenders and things like that.
Wow.
Was it the you know, the old MGs with the running boards and everything.
Yeah.
That was a woman laying there on the side with the legs together, and you know, off the hips onto the legs. That was the.
You know, I'll never look at the MGs ever again the same way.
That's that car. I'm just showing Craig that car.
Boom. Yeah.
Can you see that car? It's
Beautiful.
I don't know what year that is. What year is that?
Can't tell.
Can't really tell.
Is it a Fairlane?
Yeah, it's a Ford Fairlane. It's set it on the side.
Yeah.
Old
It
Fairlane.
would have to be 70s.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, just that was the one I was talking about. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's pimping, that thing.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it didn't even have the windows. It didn't even have the windows wound up.
Didn't need to.
It didn't even have seatbelts. I don't think.
You don't need seatbelts in that car. That car's like quarter-inch
No,
thick steel panels on it. Like you hit a car, it's just going to tinfoil everything else, man.
I was a kid in the age of them, and I remember doing a trip from Anala through to Mount Gravatt on the back window panel, laying on that because all the other seats were full.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was a bigger car then. That's when you had to like have like one of those, you know, those strings where you put all your washing on and you have to sort of turn it and just like give it to the next door neighbour. Like, sort of thing. That's how big wide the cars were. They're like, oh yeah, how you doing over in France? Over there, good. Yeah.
It's
It's
that's cool. That's crazy. So
not
so yeah, so
back to intro.
yeah, so back to
Wow, we
back.
go on a lot of tangents.
We love it. We love it. This is good. This is part of the show. But
It's free flowing.
There's more tangents.
It's
here
free
than
flowing.
in a math equation from. Anyway,
well, that that was actually cool, man.
like that?
I did. That was relevant.
Yeah,
it was
we
good. So back to what we were talking about was
Why I got into it.
your inspiration back into
Billboard,
engineering.
Hospital.
Yeah,
Was that your flash in the pan? Because we've all talked about, like last time, we talked about our flash in the pan. Like you got inspired by Prison Break.
Yes.
Mine was MacGyver and a whole bunch
The
of others.
realization moment.
Yeah, the realization guy in the snow up in Canada. What was yours? Was it really staring out of that window hospital?
Well, that's what decided me to come back to come to university.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sort of going, what do I have that, 27 years as a mechanic, surely that's got to be useful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still waiting on that bit. But
So why are you doing civil engineering then?
actually, I was watching I'm completely opposite to you guys. I'm not money orientated.
Me either.
Neither am I.
Well, to a certain degree, it is a motivator. I'm not going to, I'm not going to lie. It definitely is a motivator to do engineering, but I do enjoy the work as well, as we all do, man. Like we're talking on the last podcast with Michael, how just the time flies when you just get into it. You're in the zone and you're just doing the calculations. It's fun. It's beautiful, man.
Oh, fun's a strong word.
It depends which angle you're looking at it from.
Coming up pretty nerdy right now, Beckman.
Sorry.
I agree, but
no, actually, I was watching I think it was the cyclone that went through Tully.
oh yeah,
And I was
Tully,
actually
what,
thinking,
sorry?
Hey?
Tully up north.
Tully
Tully
up-
up
okay,
north,
okay,
of
sorry.
suburbs.
Near Cairns,
Yeah,
but
about
the Tully River.
2012, 2011.
Is that Yasi?
Hey?
Is that the Yasi?
I think it might be.
Cyclone Yasi.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was thinking how cool it would be to be one of the guys that go in there and fix up all the infrastructure. How great that would be.
Yeah.
And that was why I wanted to be a civil engineer.
The fulfillment.
Yeah. I'm not, as I said, I'm not money orientated, but I want something I can go, I'm proud of that.
Yes.
Your mark on the world.
Yeah, man.
You leave a little like
Leave my little mark, or not my mark on the world. I'm not conceited enough to think I deserve to leave a mark there, but I would like to go doing something better than what I've done.
Yeah, man. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you want to make a difference in the world, and we all do. I think as people, we all want to make a difference. That's why I want to become an engineer. You want to do that little part. You want to feel good about what you're doing. You want that fulfillment, that life fulfillment, where you can look back and go,
I'm proud of that.
I did that.
Yeah.
It's I don't know if you get it, but even when I mow the lawn, it's like it's a shittest job. But when you do it, you're like, yeah, man, I mowed the lawn. It's like a good feeling. But when you look back at it, but it's a terrible job. But you look back at the effort that you just put in, and it's like
that
it's
doesn't
great.
even make on the scale of terrible jobs.
We don't want to go down that road though. But I was just trying to make it like just relevant. But yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about mowing the lawn. How bad of a job I do.
Sorry guys.
How bad the job?
Yeah. You sit there and just like, that is horrendous. What have I done? I need to call someone. Or I get the whippersnipper out for like an hour trying to fix everything.
Just tinkering with stuff, man. That's the mechanical mind.
Yeah,
Problem solving.
I do love the reference though. It's cool.
It's cool, man. I try to keep it relevant.
Yeah.
All right, man. So obviously as a mature age student, coming into it, 27 years in the workforce, straight into uni.
Grade 10 education.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
man, it's tough for me. You know, I only left school. I had a break for a couple of years and got back, and it was brutal. So leading into the next one is like, what was the toughest challenge as a mature age engineering student?
The maths, really.
Yep.
Like, that's if I'm going to give anyone ever a tip, it's find people who complement what you're weak at, but are also weak. Like I'm.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Like complete you, or like,
Yeah.
you complete me.
Yeah, basically.
That's good, man.
Mathematically, you complete me.
Like Michael is very good at maths, but he's very poor on the English skills. Oh, poorish.
You mean assignment writing?
We don't want to bring
Assignment
anyone down
writings,
here.
Vocabulary.
Well, he's not here. It's fine.
Okay.
But
He left.
that's where my strength is, and I'm weak in the maths. So I can help him sort of on that side, and he can help me on the maths. So
You want to surround yourself with people like-minded and good, motivated people that are doing and see the world through like your eyes almost. And that's like, if you're surrounding yourself with like flakes, you're gonna be a flake. But if you're surrounding yourself with good people, like-minded people that are willing to help and not just judge you on your weakness, and that just what is that anyway? I think that comes back to like education as well and appreciation for just the people.
It's networking. You trying to get through your course or the problem that you have by using everyone else's brain for the same purpose, and I think that'll come across quite well. When you're in the field as well, when you're working with. Not just engineering, but anything.
I, without a shadow, I would never have made it through without Craig.
Craig's the man when it comes to math.
Craig's Yoda.
Craig's the man. He's the wizard.
Every podcast we talk about math.
He's the man if you need help with math.
Yeah. Math or meth?
Column A, column B. No. No way do we promote any sort of drug taking or drug use that is prohibited in any country.
That was beautiful.
That was a beautiful
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. So the math is definitely the toughest challenge.
Oh, yeah. Like,
what is it about the math?
Oh, like...
The squiggles? The constant squiggles?
The A's and the B's and the algebra? Or what is it?
In some ways in the formula manipulation. But
the algebra.
Annoys me. You go, okay, I'm doing statics, and I go, G is gravity. Across the board. Then you go into hydraulics, and G will be something else. Or, just stick with one thing.
Okay. I find that difficult too. I think you're talking about is the notation.
Yeah, sometimes.
And it's when you're chopping and changing from different subjects. But G is not a good example because gravity is always 9.1. We're sure of that, aren't we?
Lowercase
unless
G.
you're doing
Let's
hydrology, and then he wanted 9.806.
Oh.
What is the modulus of gyration is like a capital G, but then it can be like, there's another one there. It was like, it kind of looks like a G, but it's not. It's got a little tail. Right?
Okay.
Like, it's a Greek lowercase letter. And you're like, come on, man. And then there's a P, which is density, which is not P.
Rho.
It's rho, right? And it looks like a P. And you're like, come on, man, it's a P. It's like, no, that's a rho.
That's one thing that if we can just go back to just real quick to the tips is like, and it's relevant to this as well, and is working out and understanding the terminology or jargon of that field, because that's basically what we're doing at uni. They're just exposing us to different fields just so we can have a semi-understanding of what's going on and learn the terminology. Basically, learn the language of what they're speaking so you can relate. And that's how I see it, basically. And once you understand the terminology, the math, it isn't that difficult because you're not seeing P, R, B, Z on the screen. You're actually seeing what it's representing. Like you're seeing Y is representing a length of a depth for hydraulics for an example. You're seeing it as a depth, not just like what's Y mean. It's something else in another course, and you're not getting confused, and just understanding the actual terminology and what they're there for.
Yeah, though. Probably the hardest part is some of it comes at you so quickly.
Yep.
You walk out feeling like someone smacked you up the side of the head with a wet pillow.
That's never happened.
I can imagine that would hurt.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight. That's a bit.
You just feel like going.
Yeah, but definitely, I can totally relate, especially the first 3 weeks of uni.
At statics, first week of statics, you walked out of there going, "What the hell have I got myself into?"
Yeah, it is, and that's like everything new, man. It's like when you first started to drive a car, man.
Yeah.
You never were good at it first time. The second time you were crap too, but the third, fourth, maybe you're getting the hang of it. You worked out, you started feeling it, and then and now you just do it second nature. And that comes back to the work, doesn't it? How much work you put in.
It's putting the work in, and then piece by piece, like Michael said, he compartmentalized.
Yes.
If you look at it, and like I'll show my brother, who will look at like the squiggly lines that I'm writing on the fridge, because I used to write everything. Oh, life hack: write your equations on your fridge with a non-permanent marker.
Nice.
Yeah.
Whiteboard marker.
Whiteboard. That's a cheap whiteboard.
That's awesome. I didn't even think of that.
You can't even afford a whiteboard. Whiteboards are like $100 for a decent fridge-sized whiteboard. I steal a whiteboard marker from the uni and sit down and just start writing it out on the fridge. And I'm doing it on the fridge. My brother comes over and goes, "What the hell are you doing?" It's like 12 o'clock at night. I'm sitting on the floor doing an equation for an assignment. And I'm like, nothing.
Good tip,
what
if
is
you know
that?
someone who works at Officeworks, the laminating machine, when it gets to the end, there's about a metre that laminates together as it comes off the machine, and it's just blank plastic.
Oh, wow.
If you ask the girl there or the guy there, they will save it for you, and that makes a great whiteboard marker.
Wow.
There you go.
Nice.
You can
There you go.
just
Tips
pin
and
that
tricks.
up on your wall or sticky tape it up on your wall, and you can just write all over it.
Nice. Good. What is it? Just like a solid piece of plastic?
Yeah, it's just like you laminate.
Okay.
A piece of paper laminated, so it's
Just
fairly
double-sided.
firm.
Yeah, I like our scrounge factor. You know what I mean? Like, you're an engineering student, you just make anything work.
That's what we do.
yeah.
We make it work.
It's either on the window, stealing it from office supply places,
Borrowing.
on the fridge, borrowing it from the university. I gave it back.
Yeah.
It's survival. But yes, you're saying
Do what you gotta do.
you do, and I think you're going to break a few rules, but not the law. That's what I say.
So, for all girlfriends out there, if you're looking for a tip for a birthday present for your boyfriend, whiteboard markers.
yeah,
Make sure he's an engineering student, though.
Yeah, he's an engineer. Engineers cannot explain anything without
Without a
whiteboard. I got told about that by a recruiter. She said to me, I was on a date. It was the first date, and it wasn't going well either because I was talking about engineering all the time. There's another life tip: don't talk about engineering for the rest of your life to everyone, especially if it's a first date. So on this date, right?
Speed dating?
Yeah. It wasn't speed dating, but it was a blind date. Thing,
okay.
Right? So I'm on this blind date, and she was a recruiter for different companies, and I was like, cool. She goes, yeah, I do recruitment for engineers, and she said that engineers cannot explain anything without a whiteboard marker. And I was like, hey, hang on, can you explain that to me?
We love to write stuff down.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And pictures.
We're pictures.
And pictures, visualization. You have to
1,000
visualize.
words, 1,000 words in a picture.
It's beautiful.
So you were saying the math, you struggled with
That
the
was the
maths.
toughest challenge for him.
Yes.
I think the toughest challenge for us is
I
to stay on
thi-
topic.
Stay on topic. But no, we're being good. We're being good. This is a conversation, man. We're trying to flow it. It's good. But so yeah, I think a lot of people do struggle with that along, in engineering, man. Like, it's tough. The math is tough. Not for some, but for other people.
Hey, it was tough for me. Remember, I'm a mature age student too. It's been over a decade since I've been back from school. So you're talking like, again, I'm sitting at home, 12 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
scribbling on the
Gutsing
fridge.
it out, though.
Scribbling on the fridge. So it's I feel your pain when it says you come back and you've got, like, I don't know, what was it, Euler's expression of everything.
Yeah.
You're like, ugh.
So that leads probably straight into the worst subject. Obviously, it'd be maths, right?
In some ways, yes, but not really.
So what was your worst one?
MATLAB sucked.
Okay.
The-
Michael
the-
said the same thing.
Yeah, and that could have been such a great subject, but unless you had a knowledge of programming before you started, it just wasn't a sort of realistic
Okay.
in
a
what
big
they were
leap.
doing.
Big leap. Was it
Yeah.
something you've
It
never
was
sort of
went
come across?
A, B, C, Q.
So like it was almost like they assumed prior knowledge almost.
Yes.
Yeah,
And-
if that makes sense.
Yeah, and the questions, a lot of the questions were electrical or sound-based
Yeah.
questions.
Okay.
So you're flat out trying to understand what the questions were asking.
Coming from a civil perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one little civil question, which was a truss, which was pretty easy. And then you had these sound. I don't know how hard they were as a electronics guy, but you had no idea if that sort of the figures you were coming up with were anywhere even in the ballpark.
Okay.
Where, you know, the truss, you sort of go, okay, it's just 3 kilos pressing down here. It can't be too much over that.
Yeah. You can use a bit of logic, I guess, but that probably just comes back to the actual understanding of the program and how it works, and just I'm not sure. I don't really know MATLAB.
We've got
I'm
that
not
next
talking.
semester.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I don't know much about that either.
That is going to be a barrel of monkeys. By the time.
Yeah, it sounds like.
So
it's
how'd you
gonna
get through?
Yeah.
What's the victory story? Obviously, you passed, right?
Okay.
You passed.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
passed.
okay.
I passed.
Be? Got through, man. Tick in the box.
Tick in the box.
Yeah. C's equal degrees. But no, on a couple of questions I had no idea. So sort of, you like with every question in engineering, list what you know, list what you're looking for. If possible, draw a picture.
Mm-hmm. Always draw a picture first.
And with MATLAB, you've got to sort of explain what the program's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did to where I could go, and then put a note saying I got stuck here, couldn't go any further, and then gave his example back.
Wow. And you passed with that.
And I got 50% for that question.
So like, I don't know.
Note to
this
self.
is what I have.
But this is how I intended to solve it. And gave his example back to him.
Was this the one where he said HD students only?
Yes.
Brutal.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's tough.
One question said, unless you're a HD, don't even bother attempting part B.
Wow.
So that's not an A. That's not a distinction. That's like a higher distinction. No, that's just
That's
I
brutal.
don't think assignments should be like that. They shouldn't be that hard that only a select few. I
Yeah.
think if you do the work and that you can show that you've put enough effort towards an assignment, you should get pretty good marks. You shouldn't be ostracized because you've never looked at that.
So when you
subject
do
before.
it,
That's
the girl I'm doing
Anyway.
hydraulics with at the moment got
yeah.
HD in it.
I've just in relation to what you were saying. That's pretty cool.
Someone to ask.
Yeah. In relation to what you're saying, I heard that one of the lecturers say that when they give an assignment, they give a few easy ones that everyone can answer, and then they start bumping it up, so it makes it a little bit harder. So everyone can pass the assignment, but then there's a question that only maybe 80% of them can answer, and then there's a question that only 50% of them can answer, and then there's a question there for all the really good students that are like 15%, whatever, that can answer. Or, you can get part marks, obviously, but that's what I was told how they structured the exams, assignments. That was how I was told. But yeah, I'm not sure if that's right or not.
Yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'll break myself against the rolling, crashing waves of the sea rocks just to not trying to get like every single question done. Because if I can't hand something in not done.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know
like
what I
that
mean?
too. I hate that.
It does my head in. You're like,
Yeah.
I can't get this question. I must get this question.
Yeah, I get hot flushes when I can't.
I try to go crash tackle said bridge with equation on it because I can't get it.
But yeah, I'm the same, man. Is like if you get something, you almost like feel obligated that you have to finish it or even give it your best. Yeah. And you got to give it your best, and that's all you can do at the end of the day. Is give your best, and if you know in your heart, and I always talk about like this is knowing in your heart. If you know you've done your best, and at the end of the day, that's what you can do.
I think if you like at the end of the semester, you do the exam and you walk away a broken and crippled person, you'd know you've done everything you possibly can. You're like, you know what? I did it.
I did it.
I'm still alive. But
speaking of broken and crippled, we'll go into our next part is where relief. Stress relief tactics. Obviously, it's a stressful environment. It's a stressful environment in uni. It is. It's fucking crazy.
Well,
bear the F. But yeah. So, what do you do to relieve your stress? You bake.
I bake.
That's
Really?
awesome.
Yeah.
What sort of stuff?
Fattening stuff, basically.
All the good stuff.
I've got a
Brain
bunch
food.
of cupcakes and chocolate cake at home.
Nice.
I was a bit stressed last night.
Do you use the pressure cooker?
I've got one. I use it quite often. I do stoops. I use a slow cooker, but I prefer to do cakes and things like that. That's how I.
Yep. What's your favourite
at
cake?
the moment? My gym girls. I quite often take a plate of
Take
cupcakes or
sugar
something.
into the gym. That's awesome. Here we're working out. Let's have 1,000 calories right now.
Yes,
Bump up the jam.
I made these
Bump
cookies
up a
for
gym.
them. They're about the size of a 20-cent piece, and I didn't have the heart to tell them they were 100 calories per cookie.
Ooh,
They were butter shortbread.
yummy.
Oh,
I
yes,
love
they-
shortbread.
They are absolutely delicious, but So many calories.
Yeah.
There was a stick of butter and about 30 of them.
Yummy.
It's like a half a kilo of butter.
Enjoy that. Enjoy it. So, what else?
Best course. What's the
Yeah,
best
the
course
favorite course. We covered.
I failed it the first time because I frozen the exam.
Just like deer in the headlights.
This deer in the headlights. But it was structural design
Structural
Yeah.
design.
with Yan.
It is enjoyable.
It is a good course. It is extremely well structured, and the assignment is, she'll teach you A to D, and the assignment is an F, just that little bit ahead. So you've got to search and do some thinking yourself. Where it's some subjects they sort of teach you to D and then give you a Z question, and it's sort of 2600.
So much YouTube for 26
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
You basically got to go so far ahead of where you're taught. It's scream time.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. All right, what about some study tips?
Yeah.
Some like
Life
study,
hacks.
life hacks,
Uni
just
hacks.
for people. Yeah, uni hack. We should call them uni hacks, eh?
We should good.
Uni hacks.
I'll
I
give
like
you
that.
one right now.
Yeah.
Right? Multicolored pens.
Yes, get those 4 pens.
Yeah, 4 colored pens. I've got like
Yes.
20 of these now.
Yeah, I've got heaps of them.
Yeah, I got a
They're
whole
the
drawer.
best.
Yeah, you're like, what should I use? Should I use blue? Should I use black? Red? I don't know. I'm going to be special. I'm going to go green. Equation green, I call it.
You can also
Yes.
get purple and other colours as well. One now.
the purple ones.
I don't find that for me. It doesn't scream masculinity. The purple.
Oh, I find myself writing in purple and pink all the time.
Really?
Yeah, just to change it up.
Yeah, you don't care, do you?
No,
I look at it and go.
no.
I do get those friction pens, but I find if you leave them in this car, they erase on you.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, that's a good tip.
That is-
Say that again.
The friction pens. Though you can save it to a certain extent if you put it in the freezer overnight.
Okay.
Really? Okay, so a friction pen is the
Yes,
one where
explain
you
a friction.
you can do all your equations or do all your writing or write your thesis about muffins. And at the end of the day, if you leave it on your dash in your car, it ninja vanishes off you because the friction's the heat which erases the ink.
Yes.
So it's not really an ink, but anyway, it's like a graphite, the colored graphite. But moving on, whatever.
We don't want to know the science behind it, do we?
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, we do.
Thermodynamics.
Yeah, we do. This is an engineering podcast. We want to know everything.
No, because someone will tell me I'm wrong.
That's the best part.
Yeah, it is.
Then we can learn.
So anyway, the heat deactivates the color pigment in it. Anyway, so if you leave it out, you lose all your stuff. But on a tidbit, if you hand it in, if you do an exam with it, with your friction pen, they handed it in, like they can be left in a car of the guys that does the examination thing, and you can get pretty good marks because they have to just guess what's on it because there's nothing there.
Wow.
So it's the indentations are there from where you've been writing on it. And they're like, oh, what's happened? Oh, whatever, this is too hard to redo this. You have a pass.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that happened to you?
I reckon it happened once.
Yeah?
Yeah, I reckon that's happened once because I went really bad in an exam.
Yeah.
I was like, I would deer in the headlights as well. This is back before I went and did the bachelor's as associate. And I wrote all the math equations out for E&M 1500, first math, basic maths.
What?
And I was just struggling with it. I'm like, this is garbage. What am I doing? So I'm writing away, and at the end of it, I was like, I just did that all in friction pen. That's not ideal. So tip for the wise, do not do your assignments or exams in friction pen.
Yes. Good tip. That is a good tip.
Yeah.
It's good, I find if you're doing like examples using those pens.
Yeah.
Because, well,
can
even
scan
when,
it.
yeah, because even just like rough copies of anything, taking notes, because you can rub it out. It's the best part. Even using them in textbooks, I use mine in textbooks, man, because it leaves an indent, but you can still rub the mark out. They're quite handy, those pens.
I can't have respect for anyone who writes in a textbook.
Why?
I love my textbooks, even though I treat them so poorly. But I just
I
can't write it.
contact mine.
You contact yours?
Do you?
I haven't used contact in so long.
Yeah, I know. That's a treat.
That's old school. Hang on, he's going to pull out his textbook here. You really
You
contacted?
look like you don't believe me.
I believe you, man. I believe you.
It is contacted.
That's beautiful.
And done well.
Yeah, that's actually a good job.
Hey, I've put 3 kids through school. I'm a master at contact.
All right, man.
Okay. We're talking about pens and contact.
This is great. These are uni hacks, man. Contact your
textbooks.
friction pens, 4-color pens,
4-color pens are great.
and friction pens are the best.
So we've got
Don't leave your friction pen in the heat.
Yeah.
Craig explained.
Multicolored notes are good.
Yeah, you know where I got that from, man? Khan Academy. That's
Academy.
why I like that, because
That guy is a genius.
he's
isn't he?
awesome, man. Sal Khan, he's awesome. That's where it basically got me through my first 2 years of uni.
Elizabeth says
I would
I
like to
do
be friends
assignments
with
like
him.
a grade 8 schoolgirl.
Hey?
Elizabeth says I do assignments like a grade 8 schoolgirl. It's all different colours.
It's beautiful, man. It looks good.
Formulas will be in one colour, working outs in
Yeah.
another, ants will be in another colour.
Man, if you start doing all your variables in the one color, it's easy to follow that way. That's what I find, because that's the way Khan Academy does it, and that's just the way I learnt to do it. So I find it heaps helpful to do it like
It's a visual
that.
thing, right? It's
Yes!
a visual learning thing where you have your equation or your question or whatever it is. I call mine equation green. Because I'm a massive nerd, and so
Yeah.
and that's Khan Academy. Yeah,
That's good. It's
One
the
color,
best.
and then you're working in another color, and your answer in a black.
Yes.
Because that is it.
And box your answer, or do you do your double underline?
Both sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I
it's
like to
an
box
asterisk.
them.
I like to box them.
Box them's nice.
Boxing them's good, but I also like to write them in. After that, I'll put them in Word.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put them in a Word doc because you can change it.
Nice.
So yeah.
I was sitting with Craig in an exam one day, and I saw him at the finishing a question, and he sort of gone, and there was the way he finished the question off. It was so obvious he was thinking to himself, "I made you my bitch." Yeah, you know.
Dude, that's when I went through like 2 pens in one exam session because one got too hot. I was writing so quickly.
Well,
But there was just such, got it, you know.
yeah, for sure.
Eat that.
That's the
Good
best
feeling.
feeling when you do treat, you do smash an equation and you feel like you've done it right. And you've got it. It's rewarding. It mightn't seem like work to some from the outside perspective, but going through those calculations is quite the mind.
Oh yeah.
It's brutal. It can be brutal, and you can be there for hours,
Yeah.
days trying to figure out calculations and trying to work out whatever you need to do.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
brutal.
Like Michael was saying, stay away from the V's and things like that. I have found they're good in some ways, but if you get into a fluster spiral, those V's are just the worst thing in the world. You just nosedive, and suddenly it's just everything goes out the window.
And it wrecks you for the next day as well.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember that you're running a marathon, not a race. So,
Perfect analogy. I like
so
it.
many analogies today.
It's beautiful, man.
It sounds like a wanky thing to say. You're running a marathon, not a race. But you are. You
Gotta pace yourself.
What goes up comes down.
That's
So,
it.
more-
Gravity 9.81 meters per second squared.
That's the acceleration. Sure is.
That's how fast you're accelerating towards the center of the earth, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, it depends on where you are, though.
It's not enough to change it up.
Yeah, well, it's,
So you do learn some really cool things in this.
You do. It's the best. Oh yeah. So what's the best thing that you've learned to date?
Let's see if.
That could be. Yeah.
No, a couple of weeks ago in Hydraulics 2, they were doing on small waves.
Yep.
And he was talking about if the side of New Zealand fell away and sent a tsunami towards Australia, in 6.5 hours it would hit Sydney and wipe it out.
Yeah.
not a fan of Sydney, by the sounds of it.
But it is amazing that you can calculate those sort of things. That like I said on the last podcast with Michael, and I'll say it again, I'll say it all the time, is just I find it fascinating how we can do that just through numbers and equations, and it's amazing. And the more you get into it, the more special it comes, to you, I guess, as a person, or for me.
I tell the first year students when I do orientation week this story. I'd been
You do orientation at uni?
Yeah.
this year, not this year.
Not this year.
No, but just after I'd finished my first term, because I started mid-year, took my kids down to Wet and Wild, and I'm sitting down at Calypso Beach, and I sort of looked across and watching the kids, and the sign said, 1.6 metres deep or something like that, and I was sort of looking across going, that's about 3 metres wide. So and the area sort of cropped into my mind, and somewhere I picked up that it's 275 metres around the inside perimeter of the Calypso Beach circuit. So I worked out how much water's there, and I go, no, stop! I'm on holidays.
The density, the volume, and then, you've got
I
the
was
sheer
working
mass.
out, I've taken them that far to go about 10 metres, so that the water's flowing at this speed, and sort of going, no.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That is awesome.
But it just completely changes the way you think about things.
It does. It does. And it's special.
Yeah. Oh, special in inverted commas.
Well, yeah, I think it's special to us, like, you know, engineering, minded people are unique, I guess. That's why there's only, you know, very few of engineers, you know, amongst the population of the 7 billion people in, you know, the world. How many engineers are there? What, very small percentage? I'm just guessing.
It's like 1,500 people graduate each year in Australia.
Yeah, but I mean, how many
engineers as a whole?
Yeah,
the entire country.
1,500 a year.
Around about 1,500. It goes up and down, but
Is that it?
that's it, dude.
Jesus.
People
Well,
start, but
you
they
look at
don't
the
finish.
drop off. Like
That's-
when we
that's
started here,
not
like,
money.
we're a small university.
Yeah.
We would have had what
50.
50 people in each class.
Mm.
That's not including the others. That's just here. And how I'm doing concrete, and we've got 6 people enrolled, and only 3 of them, or 3 or 4, are turning up to class each week.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's only, it doesn't matter how many people are turning up to class, but, you know, you can't. I don't
last
know.
week, hydraulics, there was 2 of us in the class.
Do you want to be studies?
Basically, one-on-one teaching. Yeah,
Yeah, that's perfect for you, man. You just got to see the benefits for yourself, I
Oh,
guess.
gotcha.
Don't worry about the other guys.
Oh, hey, I'm narcissistic.
Alrighty, so the elevator advice. So this is I'll just quickly explain it. It's pretty much if you got into an elevator, you had 30 seconds, you saw a first year engineering student, and you know, what would be the 30 seconds of advice that you could give them to inspire them to become like an engineer, or even just to get to where you are, like where you were in your shoes today?
Learn the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Structural and statics and things like that. Vectors, forces, moments, all like that. Learn them, because they are going to come back and back and back at you through all of them. And if you don't have them nailed down, you're in the world of hurt trying to remember them.
So get the fundamentals right.
Yeah, I think it's like you don't have to memorize them for the rest of your life, but as long as it's there and it comes back quick enough, you're like, oh, what's flow rate again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then
Yeah.
you can boom. As soon as you look at it, like even just a picture and Google's quick search, like,
Yeah.
what about flow rate?
Yeah,
you look
yeah,
it up
yeah.
and then bang, oh, yeah, mass.
For sure, yeah, I totally
Then
understand.
mass flow rate or something like that. Mass times density times volume.
Well, that's another thing that's beautiful
Whatever.
about Google. You don't have to remember every formula
No, you
anymore,
don't have to
especially
know
the basic ones, like, you know, just the shapes. You know, even though that does, you know, some people it comes naturally, but I'm guilty of it, man. I forget stuff. We all forget things, man. And you get so much information in one day these days. It's just so hard to. You got to sort of weed out the things that you actually want to remember and the things that you can actually recall using the internet, I guess.
It's quite funny. You're remembering all these formulas like Benelli's and all this, which I had to work out the area of a semicircle the other day. I sat there for 5 minutes staring at the paper going, how do I do this? I couldn't remember how to do the area of a circle.
Beautiful.
And then
Beautiful.
I typed into Google and went, God, you're an idiot.
Do you remember now?
Yes.
Do you want to tell the people just so we know that you remember?
Which formula? The high school formula or ours?
Whatever, man.
You've got
Depends
pi-
if you got the radius.
Yeah, you got
No.
pi d squared over 4, or
That's the
2
whole
pi r
circle.
over...
Pi r squared is the whole circle.
Yeah. Or you got pi d squared over 4.
That's the whole circle as well.
Yeah.
It just depends if you
That-
got the radius or the diameter. That's all that is. Pretty
yeah.
sure. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Which
Google.
got my son in trouble because
Wow.
he got accused of cheating on an assignment because I gave him pi d squared over 4,
Okay.
and he used that in her assignment. And all kids are taught pi r squared.
Yeah, because they would have had to double the radius or whatever the hell. Like
But
that.
yeah, it's just the way we do it over the way the high school teachers teach it.
Yeah, that's sad because there's more than one pathway, and it doesn't
Yeah.
just because their way, he didn't do it their way.
No, they just assumed he must have cheated or downloaded it from somewhere because how would he know that?
Even that though, he's not cheating if he remembers it. Like,
Yeah. You should have said my dad's studying engineering, man.
I'm a boss at math.
Us.
I made circles.
How did you know that? Because I'm freaking awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Oh no.
Alrighty. Wait, do we want to cover anything else, or is that pretty much it, Craig?
I have.
What do you got over there?
I've got like the YouTube musical engineering ball bearing musical thing. You need to Google that. Like on YouTube, there's a.
What is it?
It's like Winter Garden musical.
I don't think the sound goes into here,
Ah, damn it.
and we'll get copyright violation if we use any YouTubes.
Not if you credit them.
I don't know how it works, but anytime I put anything music on there. It gets jammed
Well,
with.
I would say go look at it then, because like.
Well, yeah. Well, what is it? Explain it to us.
I think it's Winter Garden. I have to look it up.
Let me. I'll Google it right now.
Yeah. It's like a mechanical one-piece band thing. Like the dude's just like got ball bearings flying everywhere, and he's got plywood.
I think I've seen something on that.
It was cool. I was just sort of like
Winter Garden. Something else. This is coming out with trees.
it's probably just trees. I'm just probably looking at trees as well.
Winter Garden.
Just look at mechanical. Just
Mechanical.
look at engineering ball bearing musical or something, or BB, or just
Mechanical.
marbles engineering.
Have you found that
I'm
your
way
TV
off topic on this.
That's all good. It's all
watching
good.
has
We're
changed?
making it work.
Sorry.
Have you found that the
Here we go.
programs you watch?
Is it? It's called the Marble Machine. Is that what you're referring to? It's like a piano looking thing.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. It's This is why we need the screen up so we can all look at this. This thing is actually quite fascinating. What is it built out of? Cardboard or something?
I think it's out of plywood.
Plywood. Yeah.
And it sounds pretty rad. I would encourage anyone who's doing mechanical engineering, who likes like ridiculously overly complicated things, would definitely. You're going to get some music on this, aren't you?
I don't know can we hear that?
Yeah.
He's winding this thing, and it's. I'll just explain it. He's winding this thing. Here we go. It's making a noise now. Is that it?
It's coming through.
Yeah, it'll come through, but it won't be on the record. That's
Alright.
the only thing. Like we can hear it, but anyone that's listening won't be able to hear it. But yeah, so basically, if I could just explain this, it looks like a xylophone / piano. Jesus, how would I explain this? It's like a huge car engine.
Those old music boxes
It's
with
like
the spring medals.
It's insane.
It's
right?
crazy. Just look it up. It's called Winter Garden.
So I was right.
Winter Garden, which is spelled WINTERGATAN, and it's the Marble Machine. Musical instrument using 2,000 marbles. It's got 13 million views, by the way.
They're probably looked at it by now. It was like, we're the last ones on.
We're the last ones to do it.
Like, way to keep on current.
Yeah, dude, that's actually really cool.
It is cool, man.
It is really
If you
cool.
need sort of inspiration and you're sitting there, it's 2:00 in the morning, you're doing
Those sort of things.
Gaussian's dispersion model or something like that. You're like, hey, there we go.
Yeah, these things are so creative. I love those things that are actually designed. They're fully like balanced and like it's this this crazy complex geometry, and then it's all spinning, but it's all spinning in between each other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know exactly what it
Symphony of moving mechanical devices.
is. That what it is?
That's what I like to call it.
That's amazing.
It's a symphony.
That sounds good.
So many different moving parts making one thing happen.
That's beautiful.
There's a thing, a beach walker in Holland, and it's blown by the wind, and it walks along like a crab along the beach.
I've seen that. That is cool.
But they printed it out on a 3D printer, and the only part it was all printed out as one thing, except for the fan would have to be printed out separately.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it works. You can sit there and go, and it walks sideways across. It's got all these moving parts.
Well, 3D printing's just insane. Like we're just scratching the surface of that stuff right now.
I got one. It's cool.
You have a 3D printer?
I have a
no,
3D
you don't.
I do.
Do you really?
Shut the front door. I do.
Shut the front door. You do not have one. Do you really?
I do.
Ah!
How
You're blowing my mind.
Yeah, I make pegs.
What?
Like clothes pegs.
Do you really?
Really do.
You should bring one in. You have to show me. What can you print on there?
I've printed so much. I'm actually making, at the moment on Creo, a radial engine.
What's Creo, the program?
Creo is what we learn in mechanical at the particular university that we're going at now.
Blank.
Yeah. With burp. So Creo is like a 3D modeling software, and I learned by YouTube for that one. It was an accessible thing for uni about 2 years ago.
Nice.
Anyway, long story short, making a radial engine, like an old radial engine.
Wow.
So it's like an engine, which is radial.
Yeah.
And it goes this way, that way. It's actually a really
Like
simple
an old
design.
plane engine.
Yeah.
Like the old...
Yeah, like a rotary engine. Is that
No,
similar?
rotary's different.
Rotary's different. Okay.
The rotary works in the circle. It's got a... I can't think of the name of it. It's a triangle shape in the centre.
Okay.
And it works similar to a pump. An orbital engine has like a V8, but 4 or 5 of them around in a circle, sort of idea.
Okay.
Oh.
There you go.
So
The mechanic himself.
yeah,
Thank
right?
you.
Yeah, he knows what the engine is. So,
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
So a radial
It's the part that
engine,
goes
yeah.
brum.
So I'm drawing up one of those at the moment. But before that, I was making something stupid. Was it? Oh yeah, curtain rod ends. I made these really, really ornate curtain rod ends.
So what material do you use?
I use PLA. It's like a cornstarch based plastic. You don't eat it, but it's non-toxic, so
Wow.
you can print off at home and not get
So,
four arms.
dude, that
or
is
whatever,
amazing. We have to do something.
We want to make something.
Yeah, for sure. We should make something for
It's hard because you have this ability to make anything you want. You stand and go, oh, I could go a peg.
should make a microphone.
I make a microphone. I actually have to make a microphone stand for a sound engineer.
Oh, can you make a microphone stand?
Yeah, I can make anything.
Let's make a microphone stand.
Okay, you
For the
need
podcast.
All right, I'll make a microphone stand.
Yeah, that's awesome.
A phone stand. So make it really easy for me to give my son a
But it has to
present
be
cheap.
It has to be, yeah,
But something...
it has to be cool,
Practical.
You know what I mean? Something you can't buy. Because if you know what I mean. Like to me,
I've got a friend who's a
it takes
really big
hours.
Doctor Who fan.
Does it?
Yeah,
They would
millimeter
kill for a Dalek that holds their phone.
What's a Dalek?
It's the
The
time
robot
travel
thing out of-
device. Oh no, it's a Dalek. Oh yeah,
You know,
destruction.
the thing
What
without
is it?
legs. You know, it's got the one eye out the front. I don't
No.
know if you remember Doctor Who.
we have so
No,
much,
man, that's before me.
It's on now.
Yeah, but I'm not into it. Yet.
so many Doctor Who fans are just
Oh, damn, I hate you.
our two fans. That are our two
I
people.
love
who've got-
Doctor Who, man.
No, if you ever want to really piss off a Doctor Who fan, if you're ever watching it and one of those things come on, you go, "Oh, R2D2." You just
Star Wars. I know that's Star Wars, man. Come on. I am a bit of a Star Wars fan.
Hey?
Sort of. I grew up with it. It's in my life. I've watched it a few times. I'm not going to name every character. I'm not one of those guys.
Well, I'm a bit of a Star Wars fan, but
I saw
Really?
the
a
first-
little bit. But
I saw the
I'm also
first Star
Trekkie,
Wars
so,
released at
yeah.
the movies.
Sorry?
I saw the first Star Wars released at the movies.
Wow. What year was that?
80s.
Yeah, about 84, I think it was.
Dude, I wasn't even born.
I think,
How about
no, it was later than 84, wasn't it? Jesus.
No, they've been around for a long time.
So many Star Wars fans are just going to kill us right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like our
There
two,
you go.
Again, our two
we
fans.
want the Star Wars fans to make comment and tell us when the first Star Wars.
Yeah,
was
get
released.
involved with the podcast. And I think we'll finish on that.
We have to. I
We're-
have to go do some equations.
Yeah, for sure. Equation time. And get involved with the podcast. Any comments is we'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Yes.
Any
Have
questions?
a burning desire of some question, like, oh my god, I don't know how to do this, that, or something like that. You know,
We'll try to help out.
We'll try to help. We'll give you rubbish. You know,
And as a supplementary, we'll have question time with Uncle Craig,
why are you putting me in this?
and he'll answer any questions on any subject for you.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for listening. Anyone out there that's listening to us, appreciate it. Appreciate Craig for coming in,
Boom.
co-host of the
Boom.
podcast. Richard, high five. We're doing a high five and bonesing it out. It's beautiful. Oh, yeah. Thanks again, Richard, for coming in, man. Appreciate your time. Appreciate
No
your
worries.
story. We'll have you back whenever.
Yep.
For sure. And Craig,
Yeah.
another podcast in the books.
3.
That's the third podcast.
It makes a lovely break just doing study.
It's beautiful. This is beautiful. We get to share, a common idea
I
amongst like-minded people.
I think it's good. It's a good thing. It's just sharing thing, and I
It's
think
fun, man.
so many people get so much from it.
Yeah, it's great.
We hope.
So YouTube, this will be uploaded to YouTube. I might do like a thing after and say find this on YouTube, like a thing at the end. that I can-
www.
Find this on www.youtube.com, and if you go there and
Just-
click right now, you get yourself a free video.
Just keep clicking.
Just keep clicking on the next one. It's like a big wormhole. Just go on a YouTube wormhole of the Engineering Student Podcast. Ha ha!
I am going to go study.
Enjoy.
Okay.